Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Kind of the big talk of the community right now is this YouTube video that Broxah has recently posted talking about opening up about the toxicity in the pro player community. He goes on this long rant, like, I don't know, 8-10 minutes, talking about how he dealt with some of the things that happened this past year, not only to him, but some other players in the community where he felt like they were unfairly, I guess, kind of flamed, or not even unfairly, but maybe just over the top or too aggressively flamed. He's kind of talking about why can't we just be more positive? Why is everybody got to be so negative? Blah, 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 blah. And it's got a lot of people talking. There's a lot of thoughts and personalities and stuff on both sides. And I think what Brox has to say is pretty interesting. There's a lot of stuff that I agree with, but there's a lot of stuff that I disagree with him as well. So I think there's a lot of talking points and a big discussion we can have about this video and everything else going on. And then there's some community reaction as well. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick a word from our sponsor today, which is Draft Buff. This is a fantasy esports app and website, and right now we are having a league going on with me. One of the members of my community started this league, and there is going to be a link both in the description below and going to be the pinned comment on this video, where if you want to join an LCS LEC spring split fantasy League of Legends league to play with me and some other guys in the community, definitely check that out. The password for that, it's called like the league secret, is Germination, one word, capital JERMNATION. So if you want to play some fantasy League of Legends all season long with us, with me, definitely check that out. Special thank you to Draft Buff for supporting the channel and all my LCS content this month. With that being said, here we go. Again, I just got done watching this video. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. Some of the more important stuff that he talks about first, he does actually talk about just how he thinks a lot of the flame for himself and maybe Team Liquid was undeserved. One, he thinks that he actually played pretty well this season, which I don't know if I completely agree with. Again, he says that he played pretty well, but a lot of the community feedback and stuff was just parroting from other big like content creators and community members and stuff, just saying that, oh, Broxah's a weak link, Broxah's not doing very good, blah, 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 blah. And he talks about how Team Liquid had the best regular season Team Liquid record ever in history, but everyone still wanted to talk about, oh, how the team's not that good, how they're not going to do good in playoffs, how they're not going to do good in Worlds, and how that's just bullshit, and blah, 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 blah. And that's the first thing that I don't really agree with. He says, why can't we just celebrate the awesome regular season we had? Why do we have to talk about, oh, maybe this team's not actually that good, they're going to fail in playoffs? Which they did. They failed in playoffs, so that seems pretty warranted. Maybe the community, was right, was onto something, and maybe Team Liquid and their players, instead of worrying about what randos in the community are saying, maybe they should be focused on playing better. Like, I get it, Broxah's this positive, cheery guy, but he just wants to be celebrated for the regular season they had, where he was this huge pickup coming over from Europe, coming over from Fnatic, coming from a guy who's competed at Worlds Finals and stuff, and he was, supposed to be the savior for Team Liquid and make them look amazing, but really the team suffered from the same problems that they've always suffered from. Broxah had a very, very lackluster split. He was not one of the best junglers in North America, despite playing on one of the best teams in North America, and he wants us to just like sit back and just celebrate their accomplishments when he's saying, oh, why are people questioning what we're going to do in playoffs at Worlds, when they did fail in playoffs, they did fail at Worlds, they did not make it out of groups, they had the best regular season record for a Team Liquid team of all time, but they weren't able to win a title, and again, once again for a Team Liquid team, they were not able to make it out of groups. Broxah was supposed to be the guy, the big pickup, coming over from Europe, filling this hole in the jungle that Team Liquid thought they had with Xmithie, and taking them to the next level. Now, I get it. Broxah, this positive guy, he doesn't like all the negativity. He doesn't like people talking crap. And another key thing here is that there is limits. Just like on Reddit on the bottom, I'm pretty sure you guys can see it says, for the record, context is key. Context absolutely is key. People who are going on Twitter or into people's Twitch chats, being like, yo, you suck, you're fucking horrible, blah, 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 straight flaming people, calling them dog shit, whatever, whatever, whatever. That's, weird. Those people are weird, and those people are so toxic, but there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, yes, we can condemn it, we can say it's bad, we can try to ignore them, we can try to disacknowledge them, but those people are always going to exist. They exist in all walks of life. People suck. But if you're talking about other people who are just generally critiquing stuff, talking about analysts or fans or people with opinions saying, I think Broxah kind of sucks this year. I think Broxah kind of sucks this play. This is not the guy that I thought we were going to be getting. And not like saying it to a player or berating a player or whatever. Like, you should be able to tweet that out. You should be able to make a video about that. You should be able to talk about that on a broadcast or on your podcast or whatever. And I don't think that's that bad. I think that is just having an opinion. I think that is being a fan. That is being invested. That is caring about the team and the players and everything. Because, again, fans put a lot of time, money, effort, thought into all this stuff as well. And without the fans, the players have no career. Broxah's like, take it easy on guys who are just sitting there playing a video game. They're just playing a game, trying to have fun, trying to get better. Well, this is the top of the league. This is entertainment. This is supposed to be the best of the best. And if you're not the best of the best, you deserve to be critiqued and analyzed. And that's so many people's jobs, and that's why people love sports and stuff. Again, I agree. There's absolutely a line. And if you cross that line, you are a fool. You deserve to be, made fun of, ridiculed, whatever, because, yeah, that is too far and that is stupid, and you give a bad look to all the fans. But Broxah is saying, why is everyone so negative? Why can't people be positive? There were for sure normal people out there, and the average fan of League of Legends is definitely very, very normal and doesn't do these crazy things. It is the vocal minority that is doing these weird things. So I do think it is a little unfair of Broxah to be being so negative when he is saying, why are people so negative? Why can't they see the good stuff? I think it's a little ironic that he is focusing so much on the negative stuff and not seeing the 90% of fans out there who are normal people who just want to see their team do well. And Broxah wasn't coming off that good of a split, so I could see why he'd be frustrated. I could see how the negativity could be getting to him and all that stuff. But again, I don't think he played that well. I think he was the weak point of Team Liquid. I get why maybe some haters and stuff were getting to him. But yes, I get it when he says people go too far. I know people are talking about guys like Thorin, Dominate, maybe even Loco Doco, going maybe too far and flaming people and crossing a line and stuff. And yes, maybe we do need to reel that in. And yes, guys like LS and Dominate, they do have very, very toxic communities, and they often get them so riled up that they go out and say crazy stuff to people and do crazy stuff and blah, 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 blah. But again, I think that is the vocal minority. I do not think that that is the majority of people. And yes, obviously I have a problem with those people, but for people who criticize people correctly, I don't think that's an issue. He goes on to talk about how Aka and Ika, whatever you want to call him, how he got bullied and stuff, and how Ryoma's kind of got inflamed and blah, 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 blah. And again, those are guys who are at this point in their careers not cut out for the LCS. And what happened with Aka last year, getting to play as much as he did, showing clear favoritism from a French coach, continuing to let a French player play, it was really disgusting for the Immortals organization, and that kind of deserved to be flamed. It was ridiculous, the situation that was going on. It was not Aka's fault at all. He is just not good enough, but it was the coaching staff's fault for continuing to put him out there in a situation where he was not good enough, and the fans who just want what's best for the organization, for their players, and for their team to do well, who can clearly see week in and week out that Aka is just not good enough. It was really disgusting to see what kind of Zabutein did to that franchise, to that team, because, yeah, I mean, Aka should just simply have not been going out there. I do like what 100 Thieves is doing with Ryoma. They're kind of reeling him in, sending him back to Academy, giving him more time to develop, because I do think Ryoma and Aka both have some promise, but they are not LCS ready at this point. And yes, people should be allowed to say that. They should be able to point that out. But again, if you're tweeting at Aka, if you're going into his Twitch chat, flaming him directly and stuff like that, that is weird, and that obviously crosses a line. Then the big drama comes when guys like Thorin tweet this out, where he says, so Broxah expects us all to politely point out that he fucked up, but not go on about it much. When did we all become the Fnatic coaching staff? And I like this tweet just because I thought it was funny. I don't necessarily agree with Thorin, but I get what he's saying. I get where he's coming from, that yes, when you do play bad, people are going to have something to say about it. And again, you might not like to hear it, you might not like to see it, but it's something that all players in all professional sports and organizations, anything competitive all over the world, it does happen. And I do think people are celebrated. When people do well, they are celebrated very, very highly. Another, I think, horrible example that Broxah gives is he talks about the Cloud9 team. He was like, Cloud9 just had one of the most dominant teams in LCS history, and people are flaming them this year. Why are they not being celebrated? Like, Broxah, come on, man. There's no way. That doesn't even make sense. They also, yes, they had one of the most dominant splits in years in LCS history. They also had one of the most humiliating collapses in LCS history. They were this amazing team who couldn't be beat, and they failed to even make it to Worlds. That is something that deserves to be critiqued. They had all the talent in the world, and they failed to make anything of it. Like, if he thinks maybe the community is too negative or whatever, I think he is being a little bit too positive, saying, oh, let's just celebrate Cloud9. Hey, they had this really awesome, beginning of the year. Who cares that they kind of sucked and squandered their whole year and didn't make it to Worlds? It's not like Cloud9 is looking back on that year being like, oh yeah, guys, remember how good of a team we were? No, Cloud9 is pissed, and they should be, because they should have been better, and they disappointed. They disappointed the fans, they disappointed themselves, they disappointed the team, they disappointed the organization. And that doesn't have to be such a sad thing. It doesn't have to like ruin your mental health or anything like that. It should inspire you and motivate you to come back next year and do even better. And yes, I do believe that if Broxah is like complacent with how he played last year, you know, he's on his stream being like, yeah, guys, I played good last year. Why are people talking crap about me? That is a worrying sign to me because, again, just like Thorin saying, yes, the Fnatic coaching staff maybe didn't hold him accountable for some of the things he was doing. And maybe he's not holding himself accountable for some of the mistakes and stuff he's making in his play or the errors in his play style or Team Liquid's play style or whatever. And to me, that doesn't bode well for the future. If he's not, looking at himself introspectively and seeing what he needs to change, what he needs to be better, then I don't know how he's going to improve year over year. Again, I get what he's saying. The League of Legends community can be toxic. We all know that. Esports can be toxic. Competition brings out the worst in people. But there is good fans out there. There is good analysis out there. And when people fuck up, people are going to have something to say about it. That's how this business goes. Again, you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a video game. And to have that right, you need the fans. You need the people there. You need other people to really, really care about it. And since people are so invested in it and care so much about it, when your team loses, when players do bad, you are going to care. You are going to have an opinion. And yes, that opinion should not be vile, but it can be negative, and that's not the end of the world because, again, the same people who are tearing you down or maybe have some bad things to say about you when you don't perform are going to be the ones throwing money at your organization when you do perform, calling you the greatest and letting you know how much they love you when you do perform, and that's how it goes. And yes, Broxah's coming off a bad split where he probably had a lot of bad stuff said about him, and it could be a little bit hard to handle. I get what he's saying, but I do think he needs to take a step back and maybe kind of understand the bigger picture a little bit because I do think he is off on actually a lot of the things that he is saying, even if I do agree with kind of the general premises of his overall video. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you lean towards Broxah's side of thinking the community is way too negative and people should be more positive and that Cloud9 and Aka and Ryoma and Broxah should be celebrated? Or do you think maybe there is some good people out there and analysis needs to exist and we should be able to say some bad things about players and teams when bad stuff happens? Because I know that's definitely how I feel. Definitely subscribe to update on all my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.